This is another game of Mage Knight, solo conquest featuring Krang as the main character and Brevla as the dummy. We are using the same combination as in the last very short failure game. So let's go for the orc, kill that and level, and then take a peek at the tower if we can take that as well, pick up a spell, maybe level again. But we take planning for this. We then see what the dummy does, and he picks the right moment. It's really lucky, so he's behind us. And he eliminates a tactic that we don't use anyway. So the order is Krang before Brevla. And in the first turn we will prepare. We will use the swiftness. So Krang steps through the portal and moves to the plains with movement 2. And we do crystallize, which gives us a green crystal. So let's re-roll the die. Comes up blue. These two cards are played and planning kicks in. So we draw 3 cards. The dummy has 2 blue, 1 green crystal, and he plays red, blue and white. I think I will start putting the cards here as a kind of progress bar so we can see where we are in the round. So we are provoking the catapult, playing movement 3 to reduce the attack to 4, and we decide to toss the promise. The attack 4 will give us 2 wounds due to armor 2, which the tranquility will then heal, and we use the green crystal we just got from crystallize for this. So we play the tranquility, heal the 2 wounds, and then we use the red Soulstyle with a rage for attack 4, inefficient against physical resistance, but it's an attack 2 and it kills the catapult. This means we are getting 4 fame, so we do level up. We do get a reputation for killing a rampaging enemy, and we do have 2 cards, so planning still kicks in when we are drawing up to 6 cards. So before we reveal more information, we are thinking about what we actually want to take, and I think Decompose is the better pick here. And if we take Decompose, we need a good target for this, and we did play the promise with the stamina to get 3 movement, and I think I want to play the Ruthless Coercion instead, because this allows us to decompose the promise, because I'm not decomposing this. So we are holding on to these 2 cards, so let's reroll the die. Also comes up blue. The skill choice is between the mana enhancement as last game. The other option is regeneration. Okay, so we tried regeneration and we stick with the original plan to pick up Decompose. The advanced action offer refreshes to a force of nature, and it's the end of turn then. We have still 2 cards, so we are drawing 4 cards. The dummy plays blue, green and red. So we are in the 3rd turn now. So we need to move on. We need to reach the hills, and we do only have blue mana, so this is why we do play the concentration to get a red token, power Decompose with this. This was the plan all along, to then toss the promise, and we decided to get all the mana colors except white, but have 3 crystals then. So let's clean it up. This is used. So we're leaving it at that, which means we are drawing 3 cards. So we do have the stamina and improvisation left, unfortunately. So it's the dummy's 3rd turn. He's playing green, green and blue, unfortunately. So 2 more cards. That's another green and a white one. We use a green crystal we just got for Savage Harvesting. That's movement 4. We move into this space, and on movement we discard the swiftness for a white crystal. And we do have to decide it before seeing the defenders, unfortunately. So we would play these 2 cards. We would have 1 movement point left, but it's probably irrelevant. And this means we can now reveal the defenders. Oh dear, it's magic familiars, so 7 armor and 2 brutal attacks of 3. But let's end the turn here. But we do, due to planning, draw up to 6 cards, and we do draw the improvisation and the stamina as already planned. And now the dummy plays his turn, and it's white, red, white, so 2 cards left, which does mean we have 3 turns now. With the first blue die, we are powering the stamina for movement 4. This gives us enough to cross the wall and the forest and enter the mage tower. This is an assault on a fortified site, so we take a penalty, which counteracts the reputation we've gotten from the orcs. We then use a mana draw to use another source die to power the determination. The reasoning here is that we want to reroll both dice. So we have block 5 that easily blocks one of the attacks. The other attack unfortunately goes through. It's brutal, so it's 6 attack against 2 armor, that's 3 wounds. And then we can counterattack, and it doesn't matter what we power of these 2 cards. One gives us 2, one gives us 3, that's 5, and powering gives us another 2, that's 7. So we use a crystal, unfortunately, to manage this, play the rest of our deck. But it is an attack of 7, which kills the familiars. And it's 5 fame, that's a lot. So we end up at 9. We level again, get our 2nd command slot, and we do get a spell as a reward. So the charm is really what we want. So we do have a card in the deck at least. We do the power up and we reroll the 2 dice. And they come up quite brilliantly as gold and green. The dummy then exhausts his deck, and we would have 2 turns, but we can just draw the charm. There's nothing else we can draw. The spell offer refreshes to Tremor. That's of course huge for such a scenario. Alright, so white crystal to power charm. That's influence 4, and we can get a discount of 3 towards the unit. So we pick up the familiars, and we do need a mana for them. This is why we use the crystal for charm, because we do need 2 mana in total anyway. And so we can empower them that they are better healers. So they give us heal 3, which gets rid of all the wounds. That's quite nice. And we have used our unit, we have used charm. Unfortunately, we do not get another crystal, because we didn't need the discount to get access to the familiars. And that's pretty much it for the first day. I think it went okay. The usual goals to level twice, hire unit, pick something nice, and we did get a spell. We achieved that. So we are on par, so to speak. Nothing too fancy, but nothing to scoff at as well. Before we make the bookkeeping of the round, we have to not forget to place a shield at the mage tower that we just conquered. And I think I also just put the promise in the discard pile together with decompose, but I did not actually remove it from the game. So yeah, let's remove that. Unfortunately, the dummy gets a blue card, so we could not prevent him from getting the crystal mastery, but we did not want to pick it up ourselves. And we do actually need to use the blue crystal here on the familiars to keep them, and we definitely want to keep them. We do not want to have no units at the beginning of the first night, which means the dummy does pick up another blue card, unfortunately. And we have to shuffle his deck, and he does get a green crystal from Underground Travel. So let's just shuffle the dummy deck. Since I'm using the Control the Office variant, we can still discuss if we want to toss cards. So we could drop the Intimidate, but I think I'd leave it because it's red. If I don't pick it up, it will be good for the dummy. As for the Chill, I will just drop it, which means that I do have to pick up the Tremor now, but I do want to see more spells. The Familiars will refresh. The advanced action offer refreshes to a Diplomacy, which is a white card, so good for the dummy. For the spell offer, we do have the Mist form, which is a good movement skill, and the Veil of Mist is a very nice combat skill. Offering Sacrifice, I do not need to introduce. That was the MVP of a lot of my videos. Let's refresh the unit offer. Guardian Golems that we can hire. That I'm really pleased to see that. Another Guardian Golem, so we could even hire two. And the Guardsmen, I would have loved to see them earlier. We do shuffle our deck. Alright, that should be enough. Planning is now gone, as is the right moment, which I think was quite a lucky pickup from the dummy. These are the tactics that we can select from. They're still all there. And we switch to the night side, and we again have a depleted die and one blue and one red. Seeing that the source shows a gold die, we are going for Mana Search to try and fix it. And I think we have a good first turn planned. There's a 2 in 5 chance that the dummy will go before us. And he goes with Midnight Meditation, so right after us. That's lucky. Which does mean the order stays like this. Krang goes first. And we do use Mana Search right away. So we definitely reroll the gold. And I do think I reroll the red because we are not planning on using it currently. That was not a good roll, so everything comes up blue. But at least that's not hindering us. So we do play the Ruthless Coercion for an influence 2 and a discount of 2. And activate the Familiars for another influence of 3. That's 5 influence and a discount of 2. And since the reputation doesn't change anything, we are picking up Guardian Golems for the second slot. Unfortunately, this means that we do get a reputation -1, but we are still in the clear. I'm discarding this, and since we did not use a mana from the source, we are using Crystallize. At least we can now keep the blue. Actually, that wasn't that bad of a reroll. So I do think I'm taking green, because it can power the March or concentration. So we reroll the blue. Fortunately comes up white, so we do have white mana already. And we do draw 2 cards. The dummy's first turn, he plays green, white, and red. So he does not play any further cards. So we place that here as our progress bar. So the blue die powers us the stamina, gives us 4 movement. Krang leaves the tower into the plains and does reveal a tile. So this goes here. We roll for the rose. Comes up blue, so it's rotated once clockwise. And a tile is another mage tower that might be good depending on the orientation. The tile actually turned out quite perfect because we are adjacent to hags, cursed hags that just need range attack 5, so we can just kill them. And then there's a hill and a plain to get another tower, so for night that's quite perfect terrain. Then we can pick up the next spell, and there's even a ruin. Unfortunately we don't see what it is, but it's a follow-up thing that we can do, and we can then reveal more coastline and then go circle back to the center. We leave it at that for that turn, so we reroll the blue die. It does come up black. Let's see what the replacement card is. It's Savage Harvesting, okay. In the dummy's second turn he plays green, green and red, so again not a color where he has a crystal. This brings us to our third turn. So we're using Mana Search to reroll these 2 dice in the search of red or green. Dice come up blue and depleted. That's not what we are looking for, unfortunately. So we provoke the hags. Just use the Guardian Golems to bump them into them. Because of the physical resistance, they are not wounded and poison doesn't do anything. And we play a Rage with a powered swiftness for exactly attack 5, which allows us to reroll the die and kill the hags. This gives us 3 fame and a reputation. So again, we are in the dead center. And we can't move, unfortunately, so we will have to wait another turn. So we reroll the die. It stays white, and we do draw 2 cards. Dummy's third turn is green, blue, and another blue, unfortunately. So there's 2 more cards. Another blue and a white. We definitely still use mana draw before we take any die from the source. There's no point in leaving a gold die there, and blue is also something that we do not have currently, so I will reroll these before we even think about what to do. They come up green and blue, so at least it's an improvement. So we do power the Savage Harvesting to get 4 movement. 3 is enough to enter the hills. We don't see the defenders, unfortunately, and we do discard the mana draw to get a white crystal. So we do have a white and a green now, and we do get to reroll a die and draw up 2 cards. Let's reroll a die. It's green, so it stays green. Let's see what we draw. Let's see what the dummy is doing. It's red, red, and white. So the 3 cards are left over, but it doesn't matter at that point. To get the most out of the decompose, we really have to try and use mana search, and we will let go of the white and the blue die. So it's white and green, so no red, unfortunately. We decompose stamina. It feels a bit off, but let's try. That's 2 blue crystals to our inventory, and we do keep these cards. We are not using any die from the source, unfortunately, so we are not re-rolling anything, and we are just drawing 2 cards. The dummy at that point just exhausts the stack, which means it is our second to last turn, so we do have to go now. In preparation for the battle, we will re-roll these now, but I'm out of luck. It's white and gold again, so no new colors. So we do play March for movement 2. We do enter the tower, so Krang enters the Mage Tower. They are in the plains, so it's easy to reach. We do get a penalty of reputation -1 for the assault, and we do reveal the token, and it's Illusionists. We can't kill them at range, so let's see what they summon. And they are summoning a Crypt Worm with an attack of 6. Okay. Alright, so since we do want to draw our cards, we really have to play them, so playing anything with healing or running them into units doesn't work, so we do play Determination with a blue crystal for block 5, so there's a block missing, so we activate the Guardian Golems. So this takes care of the attack, it's blocked. And then the source die, the green source die with concentration and rage, will produce an attack of 6. That's inefficient against the illusionist because of the physical resistance, but it will kill them, which gives us 4 fame. So we had 16 and leveling up. These 2 are discarded. This time we mark the tower with our shield right away. Then the crystal is discarded, the die is re-rolled. These are all discarded, and I want to hold on to an improvisation to be able to produce enough influence to maybe pick up another spell for 7, and we do need a mana then. And I do reroll the die first. Comes up blue. It brings us to the reward. First the spell. And I think I'm picking up Tremor. There's no question about that. So the Tremor goes on top of the deck. We did again not reveal a skill last time for Brevela. So we don't know what the option is actually. And it's Secret Way. So it's a movement skill that gives us 1 movement every turn. Allows us to enter mountains for 5. And for blue mana we can actually travel through lakes for a movement of 2. But let's see what our skills are. The first one is Curse, so we can either reduce the attack of an enemy by 1 or the armor of 1, but it doesn't work on fortified enemies in the range or siege attack phase. And the other skill is again the Secret Guides that we had in the last game, which is 1 movement and 1 block per turn, which is a block from one of your deed cards or one of your units. We do refresh the spell offer after picking up the Tremor spell, and we do see a meditation/trance coming up. So I do pick the Curse and don't pick this for now. So for the skill choice, I really need siege attack, block, physical resistance. I like that all, so let's take the Force of Nature. Now we refresh the skill offer here. There's Shapeshift. I do love this personally. Now the advanced action offer is actually showing a movement skill, the Mountain Lore, which I love. Alright, so this was the level up and the reward. So we are drawing. So that's our turn. The dummy announces the end of round, and we are in the last turn. We do want to pick up a spell here. So let's see what we come up with the dice. So now there is the red. So I do want to try with Mistform. We are playing the white mana from the source for influence 4, the improvisation by tossing the Force of Nature for another 3, that's 7, which gives us the spell if we pay a mana of its color. So unfortunately we do have to do that now and pay a crystal here. But we do also get a crystal because we are not using the unit discount. We take a white crystal, and at the end of round we want to pay the familiars a white, so we can actually use 5 movement or influence. That sounds quite nice. That means the source die would be re-rolled. We have played all these. These 2 we can't do anything with. We can't move after our interaction. We did not have a penalty for the action, by the way, because we are still at 0. So unfortunately that ends the first night. We did level barely. We did pick up a nice unit. We picked up 2 spells, Tremor and the Whale. Actually, let's refresh the offer. And there is a snowstorm or blizzard. That's nice. Yeah, I think we are fine speed-wise, but we have only revealed 3 of these tiles here. We need to reveal 7. Let's do the bookkeeping. Let's ready the units first. The offering gives the dummy a red crystal. And unfortunately, we also give him a red card. Well, better than the blue one. But now that we gave him the crystal, it's no longer that optimal. We do shuffle his deck. With the control of the offers, we definitely do not toss the diplomacy because it's a white card. I'm not picking it up and I want the dummy to have it. Yeah, I think I'm leaving the offers as is. The advanced action offer shows maximal effect, so another card that trashes cards. So I'm not sure this is advisable. And we do get another scaling spell. We do burn the Tactics, Mana Surge and Midnight Meditation again. I count it as lucky because I'm unlikely to pick that up. These are the remaining day tactics. And since we suck at exploring, we still have silver units, of course. The peasants. Savage monks, now we are talking, and another thugs. So that's our deck. We turn to the day side, and finally we get a gold mana, a white and a blue. Unfortunately, we still have a hand limit of 5, so let's see what we get. And since it's the start of day, before even picking the tactic, we reveal the ruins. And it actually is an artifact for a keep unit and a dungeon enemy, and that's quite perfect. So we did have to pay a crystal for the familiars, and we talked about the white, and so there was no reason to not do that. So I do think I take the mana steal, which will most likely make the dummy go before me, so I'm pretty much at the mercy of him, but I do steal the blue, it doesn't matter too much, and I've learned my lesson, I have to use that right away. So let's see what the dummy is actually picking up. So it's Rethink, so he does go before me unfortunately, and he's burning a nice tactic, which means the order is now reversed and Brevler goes first. And let's see what Tony sets. So it's red, blue and green. That's 2 more cards, and white and blue. First turn, we already planned that through, so it will be the charm now with the white die, and we use the blue one to pick up Snowstorm, with using the familiars for an influence of 5. So we actually had 9, so we get that on top. These 2 dice are used. We do get a crystal because we did not use at any discount. So we do pick up a blue crystal to actually be able to cast a Snowstorm, and we will get a red right away in the next turn. So we reroll the 2 dice, comes up black and red, but we still have our gold one. And since we cannot play any other cards yet because we can't move before interacting, we do just pick up the Snowstorm. And let's see if the dummy plays again 5 cards. That would really screw us over, I think. So it's red, white and blue, so it's another 2. It's more blue and a green. Since there was no information revealed, we just go on with Savage Harvesting, movement 2, and discarding the Ruthless Coercion. This gives us our full complement of crystals. These are discarded. We do move into the ruins, and we really do not want to enter yet, because this would mean that we can't access the source and we have 2 less cards. So we do invest another turn, not playing anything, just redrawing 2 cards. The real problem is the dummy, of course. Let's see if he slows down at all. There's a red, there's another red and another blue, so 2 more cards. There's another green and another red, which does mean we have 3 turns only. Krang enters the ruins in the search of an artifact, so we draw 2 tokens. One is a keep enemy, the other one is a dungeon enemy. And let's see how lucky or unlucky we can get. So these are guardsmen, 45, 7 armor, but this is a regular Minotaur, so armor 5, so we can just kill it in range. That's nice. So the first thing is we take a green crystal with the concentration and the force of nature. We have a siege attack of 5 that kills the Minotaur. That's 4 fame. Crystal is discarded. These cards are used. And then we bump the guardsmen into the guardian golems because they are physical resistant. And we need to come up with 7 attack. We can curse him now, but it's pointless because we do get 5 attack here and 2 attack here. They neither physical nor ice resistance, so we do re-roll this die. Discard these cards, get 3 fame. That unfortunately does not let us level. We hold, of course, onto this card. Actually, after learning this spell, we should have refreshed the offer. And there's a restoration, currently quite pointless. So let's reroll this die. Comes up green, not the worst color, but we do really need blue next turn. And what we did that for is the reward of the artifact. The choices between the Endless Camp pouch is quite welcome, or the Druidic Staff. So we take the pouch, remove the Druidic Staff. So we are drawing just 4 cards. We already know that the dummy is just exhausting his deck. We have just 2 turns left. And we do definitely play the pouch. There's no point in not doing that. So I'm using 2 mana dice. Comes up gold and green. So we do get a green crystal. And I do think I want to take a blue just because we are using it right now. So I can already place that here because the source is not really helping us. It's also quite clear that we do need to play the Mist Form, but actually it just gives us movement 4. So this is just bring us to the lake, but it does not reveal anything and it does not move us out of the lake. So there's no need in stalling now or thinking about alternative options that we did not take. So we do use it for movement and we do move back to the tower and then over the lake here because we can enter lakes for 2. So this card is used, but we can still of course enter lakes, but we cannot enter hills and mountains for the rest of the turn. So we do scout with the swiftness, and then we only have 3 movement left to enter the tile. Comes up white, so we rotate it once counterclockwise, and that's the regular orientation, and we are moving it like this. So yet another tile with a mountain range mage tower. That's the 3rd mage tower and the 2nd keep. We do have a dungeon, that's welcome, but we don't have the time currently, so we are really behind the revealing. So we have revealed 4 tiles of 7 of the countryside tiles, and to actually get to the core tiles we would need to reveal 8 in total, so 4 more. We do play red source die for improvisation to get movement 5 to get it out of this pickle. So movement 4 is enough to actually reach the dungeon here. And we do play our hand. It's just one movement left. We reroll this die and we can at least draw another full hand. It comes up gold. I was about to say that's lucky, but we are entering a dungeon where it's night rules, so it's not actually that helpful. It's a bit sad, but we do have a full complement of gems, and maybe I can use the die to just regenerate after the battle. So we have 9 cards left. We're drawing only 5. The dummy announces the end of round, so this is our final turn now, and we are sitting on top of a dungeon. So Krang enters the dungeon, and there is a Medusa. But I do think I use the white crystal here then to turn the black die red. Pick up 2 tokens. One for this later, which means we curse the Medusa. The attack is reduced by 1. So we block it with determination. We power the rage. It has 4 armor, so it's dead. So the crystal and the mana token are discarded. We do get 5 fame. We do level. Let's make room for this. So we finally get our hand limit, but it's pointless for this round at least. The Medusa is discarded. The curse is used. We also use the mana draw of a crystal, so we can discard this and the crystal. But we do have the token left. We can power decompose, get rid of another movement card. It's really a brilliant idea if you still want to reveal 4 spaces. But I do feel I need the power, so I will do that. Do get a blue, a red and a white crystal, so we are restocking crystals. So this is also used. We don't have anything to regenerate, unfortunately, and this is the end of the round. So we do get the level, we already got that, and we do get an artifact. That was the whole point, unless we are rolling a spell. So let's roll the Wheel of Fortune. And of course it comes up golden, so we do pick up a spell. So we are picking up the Flame Wall. We won't see it that round, of course. We didn't even use the Guardian Golems, but we did use them, so to speak, not by activating them, by using their armor. Replacement spell is the Expose. We do get rid of the Rethink and the Mana Steal. Dummy picks up Meditation, so that's another green crystal. And I do think I want to get rid of the green spell, probably, to not pile on green crystals. No, I have enough spells. We give him the white card, which is really nice. That's the first break we get. And we do remove the Mountain Law because he now has green crystals the most. So we give his deck a good shuffle. The advanced action offer he refreshes with Heroic Tail. But a Pathfinding is huge, of course, because that's a movement card that I really need to really breeze through the map. Spell offer refreshes Whirlwind or Tornado. And since we are still stuck at silver units, we get Crossbowmen, so some range attack after all. Another Crossbowman, okay, so more range attack. And the Foresters, that might actually be good for movement. The source starts depleted again with 1 gold die and a red and a white. And these are the tactics that we can still pick. And we finally, after shuffling our deck, draw up the first 6 cards. Before you forget that, we should also mark the dungeon with our shield. But we are really interested in the first hand, of course, and finally we have a hand limit of 6. I again forgot about the familiars at the end of the last round, so we do have to think about if we want to keep them or not and then pay them a crystal. I think with these many slots and one being open, we definitely want to keep them. And since I forgot about that and revealed a lot of information already, I think I will just keep it simple. I think it is clear that we would have to move forward, so attack, block or heal is really not that useful. So if you use them for movement, we would appreciate another 2 movement points, so we just pay a white, so this one is gone and we do have to pay them a white from our reserve. So after careful deliberation, I think it's too risky to take the mist form with preparation because we could get stuck here if this is also hillside or mountains. And so it's much easier to just play an early tactic, loop around to the keep, take that. It's just in hills, so it's 7 movement to get there. So we are moving there now and we are taking Long Night, chancing it to have a 1 in 3 chance that the dummy even goes before us. That would be unfortunate. But since it's more likely that he's eliminating one of the cards that me might want in the last night, at least I want him to pay for that if he picks one of those. All right, let's see what the dummy does. And he's taking preparation. I think I like that because it leaves me the sparring power play for the last night. So Krang goes before Brevla and we are in our first turn. And the first turn is to play 2 movement, not discard anything. Activate the Magic Familiars. We already marked that to get 5 movement since we picked the white crystal at 7 movement. So 4 movement brings us to these planes and another 3 makes us assault this keep. We do get the reputation penalty. It's due to Guardsman. So we need 7 attack. And again, we can just bump the attack into the Guardian Golems. We do power the improvisation to get 5 attack. We can curse them. So this brings down the attack or the armor to 6. We have 5 points already, which means that another sideways card is enough. That means we have played almost all our cards, but we will have an hand limit increase anyway. So we just discard our cards, reroll the die. Does also come up white. We place the curse back. We do get 3 fame. And we do mark the keep with our shield. And we do draw up to 7 cards now because of the hand limit increase of the keep. So it's the dummy's first turn. Red, blue, red. That's good. 1 more card. Another blue. Swiftness is the only movement we have, so we play that for 2. Lock it in. and then place a countryside tile here. The rose comes up red, so rotating twice counterclockwise. So there are a lot of options on what to do. Moving to the monastery, killing this, maybe even going down and burning it right away, or going here, killing this, leveling, taking the auric tail, trying to learn the crushing bolt. But let's see what we do next turn, and we stick with our original plan on getting a lot of crystals. So first we roll, comes up white and black, so we do actually get 2 white crystals then. So this is the one from Crystallize, obviously, and the black just gives us a fame. So we are at 32 now. We've played all these 3 cards and finish our second turn like this without playing anything else. So we roll the white die. It stays white, so we have a lot of white mana currently. And let's see what the dummy does. So there's a green that's very nice, another blue that's also nice, and a red. I like that. And we reveal another blue, so no white yet. So that's his second turn and brings us to our third. We should have drawn up first. And since we are still standing on the keep, we do draw up to 7, so 3 cards. It feels really like a pivotal moment at that point. There's so many options what to do. I think I will play the concentration to power the mist form. So create a blue token. That's movement 4. We can't enter hills or mountains, but we glide over the plains basically. But this provokes the summoners. We do curse them, because they are not fortified. So we play the last green crystal that we have for siege attack 3, and since due to the curse it has an armor reduction, it's actually at 3, so it's just killed. We don't have to deal with the summon. That's 4 fame and reputation, so we are currently in the clear, which leaves us these 4 cards in hand. Maybe let's clean that up here. And since we do need a lot of movement and have long night, I will pay a crystal for Ruthless Coercion. That's influence 6, but it's more than enough to ready the familiars for 4 influence, so it's technically we have 2 left. But there's nothing else to ready, which means the crystal is gone and we get a reputation minus again. Which does mean that we have 3 cards in hand, and I do want to toss the divination. It's really pointless. So we have 2 cards. We are not in the vicinity of our keep, so we are only drawing 4, and we do level, so we are only drawing 3 from the deck and get 1 from there. But this brings us to the end of turn, so there's nothing to re-roll, and we process the level up. So the skill choice is between the Battle Frenzy skill, that's a +2 to an attack, or +4 if we flip it for the round. And if we do a resting turn, we can actually flip it back. And the other option is, wow, that's the Arcane Disguise. So that's +2 influence, but we can also flip it to completely ignore our reputation track. So that is quite something. We can actually pay a green mana to flip that back, but that would mean that we can hire even if we are really unpopular. To Auric Tail play with hiring 2 units in the keep, that would be such a nice play, but I do feel I need to move on. I need the movement, but I still need help with hiring, so I'm taking Arcane Disguise. I'm putting that back. Take the Pathfinding, so we can flip this. It's a mana skill actually, and quite a huge one. It's an extremely flexible mana skill of Brevla. The advanced action of her refreshes with a nice shield. And it finally finished the turn, the third turn. So we do draw up to 6 now. Let's see what a dummy does. Red, white finally, unfortunately, and the green. And now we hit the worst case scenario. So 3 more cards, another white, and another white. Okay, that was the absolute worst case scenario, to draw all the white cards while hitting the green. So at this point with 3 turns left, maybe 4, but most likely 3, we do have to gather all the movement that we have, which is currently just the Pathfinding and the Familiars, but that's 5 and 4, that's 9 movement, reduce everything else to 2, but we have to power it, we don't have green mana, so we are taking the white die from the source, power mana draw, turn the gold die to green, get 2 tokens, use 1 for Pathfinding, there's 4 movement, we spend 2, and let's see what tile we actually get. Die comes up golden, so the tile will be placed in its original orientation. So the second advanced action from the monastery is the pure magic. We do have a dungeon here as well, the second one. A magical glade and another orc that doesn't concern me that much. So I think it's fair to say that we do move here with the other 2 movement points. Then use the magic familiars for 5 movement. So that's 2 to move to the dungeon, because this means that we can now pay move 2 to reveal the last countryside tile here. Comes up gold again, so we will have another countryside tile that's in its usual orientation here. And we do have the second catapults, so I'm not looking forward to these. This is really out of position as a green crystal mine. It's nice, but yeah, nothing too fancy. So we should really focus our attention back here. And I do think I take the opportunity to just enter the dungeon now. So these are locked in, and we are drawing a shadow. So again, lots of options, but I do need to be conservative with crystals, not a waste mana. Which means that the shadow will wound us. We get 2 wounds. We can later use the mana that we still have with regeneration to get rid of 1. So finally we are using it. It's arcane immune, so this is all not working. The tremor's not working. It's all useless. So we need to come up with 8 attack. So we get 5 here, 2 here, that's 7. 1 card sideways, it's 8. So we pay a crystal for this. These are all discarded, as are actually those here. This is turned to green. This will be rerolled at the end of turn. We are not at the end of turn yet, but I do want to clean up a bit. So we do get 4 fame, brings us to 40. We do mark the dungeon with our shield. So after the dungeon, once we come out of it, we use the mana for regeneration. This still kicks in because we have the least fame, so the mana cost is actually irrelevant, but it's a good use of the other token. So we throw this away, and we immediately replace the card. It's actually a way to draw within your turn, and it's another rage. It would have been funny if it's a tranquility. So we do have these 2 cards in hand. We'll only draw 4. So at the end of turn, I am discarding the rage to actually see the rest of my deck. It's 3 cards, and I'm getting an artifact or a spell now. So now we reroll the die. Comes up golden, so it's depleted, unfortunately. And now we roll for the reward. Comes up red this time, so finally it's an artifact. And the choice is between the Circlet of Proficiency, now that's something. That's huge. Or the Banner of Protection, which assigned to unit gives it +1 armor and fire and ice resistance. I'm definitely taking the Circlet of Proficiency. So that was the reward. I did not level, so we do draw. Alright, let's see if the dummy gives us 1 surprise turn more. He plays green, that's good. Blue, that's also good. And it's a red card actually. It's improvisation, so 1 more card and a white one. Actually, he did get a white card, so I misremembered this. So we do have 3 turns now still. So we do play a blue crystal to power stamina for 4 movement, which brings us back to the monastery. And in perfect position to scout later on, but we don't need to hurry with this. And since we are here, we are using Charm with a white source die, the Arcane Disguise and the Sideways Tranquility for an influence 7, -1 is 6 to pick up a card. And we do pick up the pure magic, even though it's costly. That means we have used this and die. Let's discard all these. So we end the turn here, reroll the die, shows another green, and we are drawing the card we just got. And we now flip the Long Night. Let's mark that with a gold token. So we shuffle our discard pile, draw 3 random cards to form a new draw pile. And then we will actually draw 2 of them, and then there will only be 1 left. Alright, so we take 3 cards. The rest goes here. 1 we won't draw. So the dummy will definitely then exhaust this deck, and we are down to 2 turns. So Krang is burning down the monastery. That's a penalty of 3 reputation, which brings us to -3, and we do draw a token. And it's Fire Mages, that's nice. So we don't even need to curse it, it's just range ice attack 5, we'll just kill it. We do need a blue, and I can't use it with this, because the other token will be wasted, so we have to produce a blue with the concentration, power the snowstorm, and just kill it at range. So let's move them out here, and I think I will just do that. Unfortunately, this means the concentration is used, but it's still quite efficient. We get 5 fame for this, so 45, almost to our 4th slot. This is discarded, we can't do anything else. Well, we can, and we should. Maybe we could have even done this before entering, because we know we can't use green, so we use regeneration on a wound to get rid of it, and reroll 1 source die, because this actually makes us see our last card from the Long Night, and it's a Ruthless Coercion. So we reroll that, comes up blue, that might be good, and we do get our reward after marking the monastery with our shield, and we do get another artifact. And the choice is between the Horn of Wrath, now that's something, and the Banner of Courage. So this allows us to attach it to a unit that we can then ready once around, or we can sacrifice it to ready all our units. For the Horn of Wrath and the City Assault, I'm not taking the banner with such a pitiful army here. So that's that. I will draw that, and the dummy announces end of round. So this brings me to my last turn. So we do use the Circle of Proficiency now to get 2 mana tokens, and then we decided on green and red. And then we power the Pure Magic with the blue source die and use green for movement. That's 7 movement, and we use the first 2 to reveal our first tile. So it's 5 movement left. So with 2 points we go here. Die comes up black, so we do a 180-degree rotation. Let's see what it is. Actually, before we reveal this, we have to decide on what the city level wants to be, because you might have noticed that I did not talk about it in the beginning, because I don't actually know. Maybe I'm delusional here, but let's go with 1418. That's really high. Let's try. So let's see if it's a city after all. And it's actually not. That's the regular orientation, and we rotated 180 degrees. So we do have an adjacent labyrinth. There's a summoning dragon. There's a mage tower, a mountain, a long wall, and a refugee camp where you can actually hire anything. But it's not a tile I want to linger at. So we have 7 movement, -2, that's 5. So another 4 brings us here. So we have 1 movement point left. And now I think I want to play the Ruthless Coercion with the red token we got. So our reputation will go down. But this is not an interaction, so it's just influence 6. We would have influence 8, so we can ready them for 4, and we could actually ready another unit if we would have used it so far. Then activating them gives us 5 more movement. That's a total of 6. So we can spend 2 here and have 4 movement left. Comes up black again, so we again rotated 180 degrees. And this is a city, which is the regular orientation. So 180 degrees means that we are adjacent to the village. Besides the village, there's a glade and 1 rampaging orc. And staying true to what I did last time, that the manual says to put it on the right from the regular orientation. So the Megalopolis will be here, replacing the rampaging enemy. It's actually referencing this. I do want to play with random city colors, so let's roll 2 dice for the cities. And it does come up blue and green. So I will place the green city here and the blue city here to form a Megalopolis. And as a level 14, that means 2 times 7. We do draw a keep enemy, which we do not see yet, of course. Actually, we are drawing 2. Then 2 dungeon, 2 mage tower, and 2 white. And these tokens will have their physical resistance be poisonous, and their magical attacks will be increased by 2 unless it's cold fire, and it's just 1. So from the 4 remaining movement, I spent 4 to go to the desert. Then play a flame wall sideways to get another movement point. That's 2 to reveal another core tile here. But first I actually seeing the defenders. So let's reveal them first. So there are thugs, heroes, which don't have much armor. So both tokens with tremor are quite easy to snipe with siege. Then there's a werewolf, which has the same problem, not much armor, easy to snipe. There's a gargoyle, which is physical resistant after all. And I don't have any elemental siege damage, at least not at day. Another easy to kill token with siege attack. And another one, okay. So these I would count lucky, but I do need siege damage for this. And I have only the Force of Nature to actually produce siege damage currently at day. For the city tokens, we have Autumn Mages. These are not good. And Freezers. So they have Paralyze, but then again, they are at least have a good armor value. So let's see if we get the second Megalopolis right here. The rose comes up blue, so it's rotated once clockwise. And it's another Megalopolis with the usual orientation being like this. And it's rotated once, which means that we cannot actually reach it. Or do we? Yes, I think the Megalopolis actually put a dead space, and we decided on going with the regular rules. So after rotating it once, we're actually adjacent to the second Megalopolis right away. There's another monastery with the Blood Rage coming up, and a Dracono mountain with a lava dragon. And since the orientation of the cities does matter, we have to roll which one actually goes where. So let's roll for the center spot. Whatever of these 2 colors comes up first. So it finally came up red. So the red goes to the center and the white goes to the right spot, which is rotated once clockwise. So it's facing us. And I did say I want to go for 18 here, but it's getting more and more absurd, of course. It's 3 more keep, a total of 3 white. 2 dungeon and 2 mage tower. So instead of 8, it's now 10 tokens. So it's just 1 more keep and 1 more white enemy. Well, just in quotes, of course. And I actually do see them right away. So I'm not sure it's relevant yet because I'm probably not attacking this city with 2 more tokens. So there's a Medusa and a Shadow. So Medusa is trivial if you have siege. The Shadow is not so much. Heroes, shock troops and thugs. Again, nothing too fancy if you have tremor and siege. Illusionists and hags. And the white tokens are, well, this is bad. So these are Arcane Immune Grim Legionnaires, mostly because they are not affected by anything, as is the Shadow, by the way. And they just have a lot of armor. Then also Freezers and Autumn Guardsmen. Also not good because of double fortification and all resistances, so these just need a lot of attacks. And actually all these tokens will have 1 more armor, and the physical ones will be brutal. So I only have the horn left, and there's nothing else to do with the horn, of course, which does mean we are at the end of the second night. All these tokens are taken care of. This goes back to the offer. This would be re-rolled, but I think we really made the most of the long night. I do think I want to keep the familiars, so this time I'm thinking about this, and I have so many crystals that I will just toss a white and leave them at this. So we clean up the dummy deck and add a red card. It's not optimal, but it's far from the worst choice. We do add a green crystal for the restoration, so it's at 4 green now. We are definitely keeping the expose. And we should probably keep the heroic tail just for the dummy to pick it up. Or if we need more influence, we can also pick it up. So I'm not using the control of the offers. Replacement advanced action is Blood of the Ancients. The replacement spell is Call to Arms. We ready the units. Let's finish shuffling the dummy deck. Tactics are burnt, the long night and a preparation. Decision will be between going early and having 1 more turn in a dummy or drawing 2 cards. Will depend on the starting hand, I think. From the monasteries, there are still 2 alive. 1 I've burned down. So we have 2 advanced actions in the offer. 1 is into the heat, and there's an ice bolt. Let's see what the remaining silver unit is. And it's foresters. And the 2 elite units are Autumn Guardians. Now that's something, but only hireable in the city unless I'm going here. And fire golems, which at least have range attack, but unfortunately not siege. And I also can't hire them only in a refugee camp. So if I want to pick any of them up, it was good that I actually moved there. The source, the initial one, comes up with 1 depleted die, being black and white and red. So what remains is to shuffle our deck. So the opening hand is we take the early bird because we do have a first plan for the first turn. So there's no need to waste a turn. That does mean Krang still goes first. And the opening move is to use the familiars for movement 5, since they have a white crystal. and it's day, and we move through the desert to the refugee camp because we can't really hire anything in the village. We then play a white source die with charm to get an influence 4, play 2 cards sideways for an influence 6. We then use the arcane disguise to ignore our bad reputation, and with an influence 6 without a reputation penalty, with a discount of 3, we can buy something that costs up to 9, and the fire golems in the refugee camp actually cost 9 because their cost is increased by 1. Which does mean the arcane disguise is used, but we can flip it back with a green mana later if we want to. This is all used, the die is used. So we use our first 3 cards and pick up the fire golems. We then also use the gem pouch and roll 2 dice to see what we get. It's black and red, unfortunately, so that's 1 fame and just 1 crystal, which is red. But that's it for the first turn, so we don't have a blue mana yet. We have to see how this works out. And we reroll the white die. Comes up green, it might be good. Let's see. At least we have everything but blue now. And we draw up 4 cards. The dummy plays a red, and a white. So that's the first turn done, and we are to the second turn. So we do power decompose with a source die to decompose the swiftness, so throw it away. And we do get a crystal from each color which is not white. So we play 1 for mist form and do get a red and a green. I think getting red is nice, and green for concentration as tremor is always welcome. And we then play the mist form with one of these crystals that we just got with the blue one to get movement 4. And the move cost of all terrain, including lakes, is 2. You can enter hills and mountains for the rest of the turn, but I just want to glide over the desert and the swamp back to the village. So we are now in position for the assault, and we are in a village that we can now start plundering. So this wastes the crystal, this will be re-rolled, and it stays red. So we now draw our first 3 cards. So the dummy is playing blue, which is good, I think. Green is perfect, and red is quite welcome as well. So another blue, but that's it for its second turn. And in between turns, I definitely want to plunder. So I'm at X now and will probably stay there for a while. And I do draw 2 more cards. But that's turn 3 then. We do crystallize, so we get the crystallize out of our hands and get a pretty much needed green crystal. But blue is really what we lack currently, which is also why this is nice to pick up. So we break the circlet and just permanently pick up this skill, which is 2 more mana, and it can produce blue. So we do have 2 blue, 2 red, 2 green, 1 white, if we want to. But we break the circlet, so we need 2 more cards, Force of Nature and Horn of Wrath, which is the reason why we need to toss them so we can draw 4 other cards and really go through our deck. This means we are re-rolling the die, stays green, but we do draw 4 cards now. Let's see if we are getting lucky here. Actually, I'm already plundering, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So these 2 cards I only get by plundering. The reputation just stays there, and we have to first see what the dummy does for his 3rd turn. Red, white, that's not good start, but another red, so it's 1 more card, and it's green, that's good, that's really good. So between the turns we plunder. Yeah, I think I'm just trying that, so I'm desperate at that point. I'm taking up green die from the source to flip the arcane disguise back, but then I flip it right away to ignore my reputation, and because I do want to do an interaction, and I take the other source die, the red one, for Ruthless Coercion, that gives me a reputation of 6. I can hire foresters, replacing the familiars, but I do have to get rid of cards anyway, and I'm dropping the rage as well, so I do draw 3 cards with plundering. So I'm replacing the familiars with a downgraded level 1 unit, and we reroll both source dice. That can be good or can be a disaster. So these are discarded, these are going back. Let's see what comes up, and I really want to hold on to all these spells here. So there is actually a gold and a blue. That's really nice. I draw 1 more card to my hand limit. That's the stamina. Let's first see what the dummy is doing. White, green, that's nice. White, okay, so he's giving me time. Then I am plundering the village again, so 2 more cards. All right, so we do want to hold on to these 6 cards, which means we are not drawing anything regularly. And these we unfortunately have to let go to definitely draw that, because we do have enough mana. We started distributing this, so I think I want to chance it. I definitely have the time, but I might not have the cards to do a second assault. So that's the turn. We are not drawing anything. We see if the dummy gives us more time. White, red, blue. So that's nice. 2 more cards. Another blue, another green. So there was a green in there. And what's the last one? It's actually a blue one. Okay. So that was already the 5th turn. So we are getting to our 6th turn. And in the dummy turn, we are plundering, of course. And of the 3 cards we have left, we draw 2. There's Pathfinding. And there's the Horn of Wrath, finally. So it's the second to last card in the deck, but it's so important. So finally this brings us to the moment of truth, to the first city assault at the end of the 3rd day. That's really the last time you can actually do that, unless you want to do 2 Megalopolis assaults in the last night, which is just insane. What I'm doing here currently is also insane, and I think I'm delusional to actually think I can do the scenario. Probably I can't, but if I can take this level 14 Megalopolis and maybe take a bite out of the next one. That's fine with me, with how the game was going. But let's get to the assault. So we can take the city in one go. That's huge, if I didn't miscalculate. So let's see what happens. I moved Krang with pathfinding to the blue city, so I'm currently there. We are then casting Tremor. I think that's obvious. That gives all units armor -2. Cannot be reduced below 1, obviously. So we're activating this skill here to give us a green token. I will mark them with gold. That's obviously not correct, but we have to keep in mind that this is from this skill. So we flip that and we put a green here and a blue here. So maybe let's start cleaning up. So the Tremor, and let's just put the crystal here. So the concentration with the green that we just produced from the skill will mean I have siege attack 5, and with the Tremor that kills the freezers. I then break the Horn of Wrath to get siege attack 9. That's 3, 3, and 3. They're all reduced to 3 because of Tremor, and then they would all be dead. And unfortunately at that point I have to roll for wounds, and if I do roll badly, if I get 4 wounds, then I can't do my plan. So I have at least one of these dice must not come up as red or black. I hope that's not too much to ask for, but at that point we reveal new information. We can't unroll this, so we can't unwind this. We roll 4 dice because we increased it by 4 to 9. They come up gold, blue, red, and black. I think that's fair enough. It's 2 wounds. This of course also means that we do not have the horn available for the last city. That's really bad, but if you can't take the first, then you should really not spend too much thought about the second. All right, so we are left with the other 4 tokens and are now in the block and assign damage phase. We do curse the heroes. The fortified and even double fortified restriction doesn't apply because it's not a range or siege attack phase. We reduce the attack of 5 to 4 and bump it into the fire golems, and the attack of 3 goes into the guardian golems. The attack is poisonous, but it doesn't matter because they are not taking wounds. So this means this is assigned. So the token is dealt with damage-wise. We do activate the foresters. So let's mark that by fully activating it. For block 3, that blocks the thugs, and the brutal is irrelevant at that point. So they are taken care of. We do use a blue source die to get block 4 and activate the guardian golems for another block 2. That's block 6, which blocks the gargoyle. Again, the poisonous is irrelevant at that point. And for the altar mages, which do have their attack increased by 1 because they are cold fire, and brutal brings it up to 10. We do assign 1 wound to the foresters. They don't have assassinate. The 4 armor brings the attack down to 6. And since they are poisonous, they get a second wound, but it's just a level 1 unit. If you wanted to heal it, that's just 2 points. And the 6 attack that are going through, I have to soak up because we already assigned damage to all units. And since I have 3 armor, that's 2 wounds to hand. That brings me up to 4. My unmodified hand limit is 6, so I can take 5 wounds, and only the 6 will knock me out. But I unfortunately also take 2 wounds to the discard pile because it's poisonous. But this leaves me with enough resources to now retaliate. So this token is also taken care of. We now take the physical resistant ones and we use a crystal for range fire attack 4. The range is irrelevant, but it's fire attack 4. And the generated token from Brevelar's skill for ranged ice attack of 5. They are only physical resistant, so that's 9 attack. They have a combined 12. With Tremor, it's 2 by 2 removed, so they are down to 8, which kills them with 1 damage even spilling over. So this means the snowstorm is played. The curse is also already taken care of. We have used all our units. The pure magic is also already played. It was for blocking, which now means that I can use a crystal on Flame Vault for a fire attack of 5. And since these 2 tokens are not fire resistant, and Tremor reduced them to 2 and 3, so that's 5. They are just killed, and I hope I can decide on the order. I think I can. I'm grouping them, but it should be my decision, I think. So I'm going down 1 first, and I'm going up 1 reputation after that, so I'm at -5, which also kills these, and which means we do not have to retreat. We take the first city at the end of the 3rd day. Our hand consists of 4 wounds. We are totaling up the fame, so the thugs are just 2 fame, but it does mean I level. I will now have my force armor at another command slot. We then get 5, and 5 is 10. 5, 7, and 8 is 20, which means we are leveling again. And finally another 8, which brings me to 86, and I'm leveling yet again. So I do also have my hand size limit increase and the final command slot. So let's reroll the source die. Comes up golden, so it's really a golden age of mana currently at day. And I do get to pick a skill and an advanced action card from the level up here. And I do have 8 shields on the cities, so 4 on each. So let's place them there to make it quite obvious that we have this huge bonus. But let's see what the skills are. And the first skill choice is the Puppet Master ability, where if you defeat tokens, you can actually keep them and then later spend them to get half of their attack value to attack something or half of the armor value to block something. This will retain any elements for both, for the attack and the block, and if it's an odd number, it will be rounded up. And the other option is the Shamanic Ritual, which does just give me any mana, including black. That might be huge for the final assault. And if I spend an action, so if this is my main action, I can just flip it back. So I will take the mana, which is also quite welcome for the last 2 turns I have now, which brings us to this skill. So I'm picking Heroic Tail. The replacement is actually a Peaceful Moment, which is another influence card. I rerolled already, so I'm redrawing now, and I would draw to 9 cards. So with the 4 wounds in hand, I definitely draw the rest of my cards, which is the Savage Harvesting and the Heroic Tail I just picked up. And I need to play a card per turn, so if I'm not picking up anything with Heroic Tail right now, I have to play the Savage Harvesting in the next turn. The dummy will play 1 more card. This is exactly the reason why I get 2 turns now. The Autumn Guardians are quite essential for my strategy, so I do want to pick them up, and I don't think I can pick up anything else in this turn because we need 11 influence. With a regular interaction, we would be at -5 plus 8, so it's +3. So we could get to 6 or 9. That's even if we powered it too short. So I do use a Source die, a gold one, to flip Arcane Disguise. So with a green mana, you can flip that back. And then flipping it to ignore my reputation. So the -5 is gone, so we are at 8. And 3 is actually enough to pick up the Autumn Guardians. And powering this for 3 more doesn't do anything for us. But I do get a reputation for each unit you recruited this turn anyway if I'm not powering this. So I'm getting a reputation, I'm at -3. This will reroll this die, this is flipped back, this is discarded, but we do have this very nice unit now. We do have a card for the next turn, so we can play another turn. So we are rerolling this, it stays golden. The dummy announces the end of round, and now we are really interested in picking up this spell, which means again that we are using a Source die to flip this back and use Arcane Disguise again, because we are still at -3, so we are at +5, and we need 2 more influence, which we do not get from anywhere else. So we can either get 2 or we can ignore the penalty. Then we are at 8, we only need 7. But we do need the Source die for this, and to pick up the spell we need to pay a mana of its color, so we are using this Shamanistic Ritual to pick up Expose. It doesn't matter where it goes actually. And you have to play this card technically, but again it's just 1 influence, so it doesn't help. But that's really it, so that's the last turn. Alright, so let's do the bookkeeping. We ready our mana skill here. Again, our Shamanistic Ritual is also readied. And Arcane Disguise we didn't need to flip. This would be rerolled. We ready the units. We do finish the 3rd day, so all tactics are burned. And we can take From the Dusk or Sparring Power. We should have refreshed the spell offer when we picked up the Expose. So there's a time bending. But now the dummy will actually pick up a White Crystal for Whirlwind. So that's removed. And I think I'm leaving Call to Glory, and this refreshes to a Fireball. Nice, but we already have the Snowstorm, so yeah. The dummy picks up a blue card, unfortunately. So he has 2 crystals from that color. And I do leave the Blood of the Ancients. Actually, no, there's probably no use for that, because if I pick that up, I can just pick up anything else. So I'd rather have the variety. So the Advanced Action Offer refreshes with In Need. That's huge if you want to heal. And Magic Talent, it's also huge because it means that I can actually cast a spell from the offer without picking it up. We refresh the 2 advanced actions from the monasteries, and it's a Firebolt and Training. These wounds we have to unfortunately shuffle into our deck, where we already have the 2 poisonous wounds, so we are at 6 wounds now. Let's see if this pans out or not. We do shuffle the dummy deck. Let's move the cities, because we need the space for the units, and I hope we are getting good ones. So Krang is still in the blue city. Let's move the advanced actions down a bit. And the last silver unit is Herbalists. That might actually be interesting. We can hire them in the monastery. But more importantly, what are the core units? So 1 are green heroes. Okay, they can also heal quite well. But what's the other unit? It's Freezers. So it can prevent an attack, or it's just a very solid block as well. And we did have some tokens with an attack of 5, so these blocks of 5 are really, really appreciated. We flip to the night side, and the first source is red, blue, and black. So let's give that a really good shuffle. So this might be the most important shuffle of the game. So I might overdo it a bit, but that's really important. And again, a final cut. All right, so we do start with a hand limit of 9 because we are city leader and we are in the blue city. So let's see what our opening hand of 9 cards looks like. So we do pick Sparring Power. Maybe let's put that here to remind us and not here because I tend to forget this. But that means that the dummy goes first. So Brevler is finally going ahead of Krang again. And we are really at the mercy of the dummy, so let's see what happens. He's playing red, white and red. So all good colors, unfortunately. So that's 1 more card. And this is a blue card. So at the beginning of our first turn, we put 1 card under Sparring Power. So we start off by using Decompose with the red source die. So let's put that to the discard pile. And we are tossing... We can't hold on to either of those, so it doesn't matter. Let's get rid of the Rage. This gives us a blue, a white, and a green. This we probably discard at the end of turn. I think instead of using a crystal, I will just use this, because there is a chance I can regenerate that just by using this as an action. So I'm flipping this to get a white token to cast Charm. We do flip the Arcane Disguise. This means that our reputation is irrelevant, it's ignored, so the heroes do not double it. And we at neutral, we start with 8, that's 12, that's 14, that's 17. So 17 influence gives us for 8 the freezers, and for the remaining 9, the green heroes. This does mean that our foresters we have to let go and we don't need to heal them. Alright, so we played all but the Flame Wave, the Mana Draw and the Force of Nature. And that's our first turn, so we reroll the red die. Comes up as green. That might be nice if we draw in Tranquility, or we can just use it to turn that back. And we do draw up to 9 cards, so 6 cards. This ends our first turn, and the dummy goes before us with his second turn. First card is white, unfortunately, then a blue, and finally a green. That's really, really bad. 4 more cards. That's a green, a white, a blue, and another green. Alright, so at the beginning of our turn, we put the second card under Sparring Power. Let's put that over here, and we are now second turn. So the first thing we do is regenerate, because we do drop another card, and that could change what we do. And I do use the green for this. So we are regenerating 1 wound. That's once per turn, and we are redrawing a card because we have the least fame. And it's actually Savage Harvesting. So this is movement 4. Terrain cost is reduced by 1, so we can move where we like. And Krang moves out of the blue city to the village, but we still are in the supply line, of course. But we can now discard a card to get a crystal. So we are discarding the rage for a red crystal. So we finally have a full complement of crystals. We discard all this, and as our action of the turn, we refresh this, and then we pop it again for a mana to refresh the Arcane Disguise and put it to the heroes just to mark that we need these 2 influence to be able to use them. We are holding on to the swiftness, at least for a turn. So we reroll the green. Also comes up black. At the end of turn, we are drawing up to 9. We're currently at 6. I'm leaving 2 cards here because I want to plunder. This is white, it's unfortunate. Red, that's also unfortunate. But we hit another red, that's good. So 1 more card, which is a blue. In Dummy's turn, we do plunder, which tanks our reputation. So we have -5 again. But we do draw, so now we're in our third turn. But as usual, at the beginning of the turn, we do put a card under Sparring Power. That's our third card then, for the third turn. So we do spend our action to ready Shamanistic Ritual, and then flip it again, together with a regeneration, to get rid of 1 wound. The idea being that we are getting faster through a deck when we throw them out and just draw a card right away. And it's another wound, okay. We do Crystallize, so I'm picking up a blue without thinking about too much. That's the Crystallize. And we do hold on to 1 movement card that we can actually get back. I think we have enough mana. Let's maybe hold on to Pure Magic because it's much more flexible. So we toss this, but it does mean we have 7 cards and 2, so we only draw by plundering. So we reroll the die, stays blue. We are not drawing anything. And let's see if the dummy hits the green card. So red, red, blue. That's 2 more, white and blue. So that's the green. Okay, so he only has the green left, which means that we now have 3 turns to try and attempt this city. Between the turns we are plundering, so we are at X now. That's 2 more cards, so that's 11 cards. We have played 4 turns so far. No, the dummy has played 4 turns so far. We have only played 3, which brings us to our next turn. At the beginning of our 4th turn, of course, put a card under Sparring Power, so that's 4 cards now. So you play the Swiftness for movement 2 to get back into position. So Krang moves back to the blue city. We do flip the Arcane Disguise, so we are at 8 influence again, which means we can pick up a spell. At that point, we are flipping this to get a red token to pick up the Fireball. And the other token is a green one, which means that we can flip this back, so we can actually use the heroes in the battle. We then use blue with Regeneration to get rid of 1 wound and draw the Fireball. And that's it for the turn. So we reroll the die. Comes up white. We do have so many cards in hand that we definitely do not draw. So that's 10, I think. The dummy exhausts his deck. So we have 2 turns now. At the beginning of our turn, we put 1 more card under Sparring Power. Then we use the white die to regenerate, to throw away this wound. Draw the last card of our deck, which is blocked, that's good. And we do use the action of the turn to ready the Shamanistic Ritual, which really means that we can just reroll the die and then we are ready to go. Comes up blue. Dummy announces the end of round, and at that point I will get rid of his deck here. And we are at the end of the game, the end of the 3rd night, and we now pop Sparring Power, which is 5 more cards. Let's see what we get. So these are the least important cards. Let's put them here. All right, Final City Assault on the level 18 Megalopolis. White and red. Tokens have +1 armor, and all physical attacks are brutal. I hope this doesn't matter at all, because we are killing everything or blocking it, so nothing actually attacks. We do flip this to get a blue mana, because for some reason everything else is already accounted for, to do the assault. So Krang moves from the blue into the white city, and we are already at X, so that doesn't matter. So this is taken care of. So at that point I start discarding stuff, and this is also used. We then cast the Tremor. We do cast the mana draw to get 2 dice, so we can't use the last one. And we are breaking this, but I'm leaving it like here. Actually, we did not refresh the offer, but yeah, so we are breaking this. So we get 1 token of every color, it's already here, and a black one. So I'm leaving the tremor here because this is still active. And now we are in the siege and range attack phase. We do use the red and the black token from the pouch to cast a Firestorm. Oh, actually we are taking wounds. I have to take this into account. So 1 wound from Firestorm. But we have a siege fire attack of 8. These monks are at +1, that's 6, -4, that's 2. So 2, 2, 2, that's 6. And these are at 1, that's 7. So ranged or siege fire attack of 8 kills them. None of them is fire resistant. So these are all on the killed stack. And we have played the fireball. Let's put the mana we used here. We then cast expose. Target enemy loses all fortifications and resistances. So this token that really has only the fortification resistance going for it loses this all, but only this token. And we do get a range attack of 2 now in the range phase. So we do cast the blizzard with a blue token, probably also from the pouch, and a black die. So we take another wound from the blizzard, but it's siege ice attack 8, and with the range attack 2, that's a total of 10. They are not resistant, but they are arcane immune, so the armor is not reduced. But we add this token to the kill stack. We are then using the concentration with the force of nature again, with a green token, probably also from the pouch at that point. So that's all the mana that we generate from the pouch. So the pouch is gone now. But it is a siege attack of 5 physical. This has only 1 armor. This is only 4 armor, so that's 5 armor. None are physical resistant, so these are dead. So they are added to the kill stack. These 2 cards are discarded, which leaves only these 3 tokens. These are exposed. So we are now using the freezes with a blue crystal at that point to have target enemy does not attack, and they are no longer ice resistant, so we can do that. And it gets an armor -3 to a minimum of 1. So due to earthquake, since we cast this before the expose, they were still fortified. So they are losing 4 armor, they had 3. Then they lose the fortification and the resistances, and now they're losing another 3. So this is at 1. So this is at 1 armor without any resistances. We do use another blue crystal for determination for a block 5, which blocks the shock troops. The earthquake reduced their armor to 1 and 3. And since it's now blocked, they are at 1, 2. Again, no resistances. That means we have played a determination. We activate the Autumn Guardians for a block of 8. That's inefficient. So it's half to 4, but that's enough to block the cold fire attack of the Shadow. The Shadow is now blocked. They are arcane immune, so the armor was not reduced by anything. But it's now down to 4, which means that we have 6 armor here, and none of these have any resistances. At that point, we could actually kill them almost just with this. And we don't actually need to cast the Flame Wave. I don't think we need the units for anything else. I don't think we want to kill a Dragon Force style. We just stay in the city and use the heroes for influence. So I want to keep the heroes, but I'm actually saving that mana here and just playing this sideways. I activate the golems for 2 attack, the fire golems for 3 attack, and this sideways for an attack of 1, that's 6 attack. They are all added to the kill stack. And at that point we are through the combat. We do have a huge kill stack. We do unfortunately have 2 wounds still, but a tranquility, which means that we can heal, but there's no rush actually. We do have the pure magic for next turn, and we have 2 more wounds that we picked up from the 2 spells, from the Firestorm and the Snowstorm. But we definitely level, so we can look at a need. Actually, let's get rid of the pouch at that point and refresh the spell offer where we put up, we took the Firestorm. There's a burning shield, exploding shield. Actually, again, I'm not sure if we have another turn because the end of round was already announced, so I should probably not play another turn. So I just activate the heroes now, I think. So after the battle, I'm activating the heroes with a green token for heal 4 and just heal all our wounds. And I didn't actually move into the city yet. I did use the whale. Okay, so I did pay the mana in anticipation that I could actually use this the next turn. So that's probably a misplay as well. Let's get back to Mist form. We haven't revealed any information yet. We did need a token for that, or even a crystal, I think. So we don't need that, so we can keep that. That's actually 1 more fame point. And we can just move into the city with any of these 2 cards sideways. But I think we are then done with the game anyway, so it doesn't matter. So let's just process the stack. So we did end up with 3 and 7 is 10, 2 and 8 is 10, 5 and 5 is 10, 4 for 4 is 12, and 8 is 20. So that's 50 fame. We are at 86. So the 20 brings us to 106 and the 30 to 136. We have a board of 120, so we had 16. And we did pass the final level. So this time we did screw up again. So the 4th Breveler skill, there's 3 only, would have been this. And the final 2 Krang skills, of course, are the Master of Chaos and Battle Hardened. Let's take the Master of Chaos, put it here. We pick up another advanced action card. Let's just score. And since the end of round was declared, I'm not playing another turn. I'm really baffled how this turned out. I was really thinking that this game would be a post-mortem. Then I thought, okay, maybe we can like accelerate the movement, where after the third round or so, we had revealed 3 tiles, so 4 more to even reach the core. So we focused on movement, but could pick up some interesting stuff on the way, especially getting the artifacts here with the dungeon and the monastery. So that's 2 artifacts. Then we could reveal this nice Megalopolis chain. So we didn't need much movement. And especially getting rid of all these cards over the course of the game. We started with a promise, then 2 movement cards, another movement card, and finally a rage. So Decompose really gave us a lot of crystals. I think most of the time even 3, maybe once 2, I don't know. But I think most of the time 3, that's like 14 crystals. So maybe Decompose was the right choice after all. And with the Gem Pouch, we did have even more crystals. So this produced us like 6 crystals or so, 3 times 2 at least. And in the end, it was 5 tokens, so that's a lot of mana. And we burned through a lot of mana, but mana is really what powers all this, what makes it possible to play like this. We didn't actually clean this up, so there was a lot of mana used here. And we would have to reroll these dice, of course, but the game ends. We didn't even get the first city in the vicinity of the keep, so I thought, okay, then it's even further away, but then we had this village, and this really enabled us to get in the 3rd day the perfect hand by increasing our hand limit to 8, because at that point we only had 6 hand limit, and with plundering all the time, going to the X reputation, we could get the perfect hand to make a city assault going, which is more than I even assumed. I said several times maybe I'm delusional, and I'm not sure what you thought when I was going for Megalopolis of level 14, so even higher than, well, actually last time I think I played 12 and 14, but again, it's at the ceiling of what I played ever, so with a game like this, why even go for this? But then we could make the assault work, and not even this, we could even take the city in the first go, because we did not have to retreat and go at it again, because I think we were out of resource anyway. And just with 1 or 2 cards, then we had 2 more turns so that we can actually milk the shields that we have 50 cities. And that's huge. You do need to take the first city and really reap the benefits of what you can do in these cities, because they all have nice offers. We could get a spell with this. And I think we picked up Mass Expose, which played a role in the second assault. So being able to take the first city in one go was really huge, because then at the end of the 3rd day, we did have this sacked, and we were in a good position to continue. We did not have to move, so we could prepare the final night with sparring power that dummy let us take. So we could have had preparation, but I think it pales in comparison if you get 4 more cards and you can just go through your deck. We did go to the village again with pathfinding, I think, and savage harvesting to do the strategy again, to go 2 above our hand limit basically, to search the deck quicker. So we got all the spells. We did get good spells in the beginning. That much was clear, so this was not the bad part about this run. The problem is really, what does the spells do for you if you have Tremor and Flame Wave and all that nice stuff? If at the end of the game you are not leveled enough, you don't have enough armor, enough hand limit, you don't have enough cards, you don't have them all, you do need the black mana. There are games where you're really struggling with black mana, but I rolled 2 in the final round just like this, picking up the Shamanistic Ritual. I think that was also a huge pickup. The Regeneration we did not use for several rounds, but in the end it was really MVP, because it doesn't actually only heal you, it also replaces the card, and that's huge. Because that means that if you put wounds in your deck, and you do have the mana, that's the important part of course, then you can actually just replace them with another card, and this means that the wounds are not actually slowing you down. And if you're not taking any other action and have this nice skill, because this is any mana whatsoever what you like, and the ability to flip this back that was introduced with Krang, I think, that's just a huge skill and a huge combination, so maybe picking up the Regeneration after all was a good choice. In the postmortem I was already planning, in my head basically, I was really pointing out the decision to take the Gem Pouch over the Druidic Staff, because I almost deadlocked myself if I did not have noticed that I can actually play red mana, but in the next turn, in the next round I was deadlocked again, because I was on the wrong side of the mountain and the lake, so I almost took preparation to walk over the lake again, but it ended up quite well with the placement of the countryside tile, so I could place the first core tile here, or I can actually place it here. So I had actually 2 spaces, so there was a lot of planning involved there. I definitely thought a lot in this game, it was really taking quite long, but I do think that there were an extreme amount of pivotal positions where if you play the wrong thing or take the wrong skill, you're really screwing yourself. Taking Arcane Disguise, for example, was just a hunch, and I was already moving away from the monastery, so I took it after being already out of position, but then I've drawn another one, which sets me back but gives me an artifact, and all the artifacts were quite important. I think without the Horn of Wrath, the first assault would not have worked, because I just didn't have the siege damage. Going from 5 siege damage to potential 15, this makes all the difference in the world. And taking a city of this magnitude a day, I have never done before. And then with the village, this was really MVP, because after milking this village to groom the hand and taking this city, we can then flip that to actually hire the Autumn Guardians. We did use the trick that we kill the heroes first and then the thugs, so we did not end up at X, so we could interact anyway. So this was not that important, but this was a huge pickup with the artifact, because that's so much mana. Yeah, I think it just turned out well, and we could take the first city, but even then I never thought that we can take the level 18 Megalopolis with 10 tokens, with 2 arcane immunities. We didn't have an army to speak of, so we were at that point already only picking up the Autumn Guardians, and we did have foresters that were gravely wounded. So it came down to luck what we draw. There are coins that you can't even hire in a city, so that's a problem then. So we would have to pick up Call to Glory probably, and these are not actually the best units to even pick up. So probably Automatus would be much better, and also Defana Masters of course would be much better, because they have so much power, removing fortification, so you don't need to pick up Explosive, you can just get Defana Masters. Also Sorcerers might be better, but I think they are an example that you can actually hire in a city. Yeah, you can only hire them in a Mage Tower or a Monastery, but these would of course replace the Expose also. Yeah, but at that point I still didn't think that we had a big chance. But we looked at the tokens, again, knowledge is key in Mage Knight, and could figure out what to do with them. I did not end up playing the Whale and nor the Flame Wave, so the whole point of this strategy to get units and absorb the attacks and then use the Flame Wave to retaliate, well, it wasn't necessary in the end, because we picked up Firestorm and Snowstorm, but I'm fine with that of course. And we did manage in the last turn to take the city. I would have never imagined that. I really thought this was going in a direction where it's not a postmortem, because I can at least take a level 14 city and maybe take a chunk out of this other city. That's good enough to not make it a postmortem. That's really good enough. But winning this, I hope I didn't do any mistakes. I really hope that. I did screw up sometimes with revealing information too fast, for example, with the familiars, but I do think it was clear at that point that I'm so far behind that I need the movement. So I don't think it's a big deal. So the things I noticed so far, I don't think they invalidated the run, at least not for me. But as usual, please tell me about any mistakes you notice. And for those who are interested, I will calculate the score now. Let's see how far we get with the score. As usual, we start with the standard achievement scoring. We did manage to get 7 spells. That's 14 fame, and we do have 6 advanced actions. That's 1 fame per advanced action. That's a total of 20. So we are at 36. As usual, we broke all the artifacts. So we broke the Horn of Wrath, we broke the Gem Pouch, and we broke the Amulet to get the skill. And we did not get more than 3 artifacts, so there's none left. We do have 2 crystal pairs, so at least that's 2 fame. The leader, we managed to not wound any of our units. That's huge. That's 6, 10, 15. That should bring us to 53. The Conqueror, so monastery-wise, we did burn 1 down. That's 2. Keeps, we took 1 here, but we did not end up taking this one. That's another 2. Mage Towers, we did take 2 in the beginning, but left these 2. So there are 4 Mage Towers on the map, and we did take 2 of them. That's 4 more. As for adventuring, we did play a dungeon, and we did also play ruins that we never marked with a shield, it appears. We did also do the second dungeon, so this gave us a spell. This is why we only had 3 artifacts. So 1, 2, 3 from the ruins. But it's 3 adventuring sites, and we didn't do anything else. That's 6 fame, so we had 67. For the greatest beating, we managed to heal all our wounds with the clutch green hero play. We didn't need them for the final assault, it was so funny, but we are not getting any minus points. And as usual, we do get our 35 points, 10 per city and 15 if all were conquered. So that's 102. We did not have an unplayed round, we didn't have cards remaining dummy deck, and the end of round was announced, so no more points for me. Which does mean that our score is 222, which is actually not that good. So I'm really not sure what's up with the score, because we did kill like 18 tokens for the cities. So that's a lot of fame, there's a huge pile of enemies here. And we do have a lot of spells, lots of sites, so I did not get that much fame while preparing, so I was not even leveled before I attempted the second city. And I got like 50 fame from this, But let's leave it at that. This turned out far better than expected. I did not expect to win this. I was really considering a post-mortem. Then I was considering that maybe I can take a chunk out of the first city, so it's worthwhile to watch even if I fail. Then I thought, okay, taking the first city, that's really huge. It's definitely not a post-mortem at that point, because I achieved something of value. A level 14 Megalopolis. Attempting the second city, just having one attempt and then maybe killing a lot of tokens, but then failing would have been fine. But actually doing this with a unit unspent, healing all the wounds, I'm so happy with this. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I can make a short version of this. Let's see how short this actually is. But that would be new, so I'm uploading the video twice then. So the long one will probably be like 4 hours or whatever. But a short one I hope is maybe an hour, roughly. Maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit shorter. But it would make a huge difference for those that are not interested in all the thoughts. So if this works out, I will be quite happy. Let me know what you think about these two formats. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you for pointing out errors if you do, and see you in the next game.